Welcome to another episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television. Welcome into another episode of the House Huddle. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz and joined with my co-host here, Justin Onayemi. How are you doing? Loaded question. I know.
Wow. Yeah, we're doing this immediately following the game. The game probably ended about 20 minutes ago, Thursday night. We're going to try to get this out to you all Friday morning, but
yeah, it'll actually go out at some point tonight, and the video on YouTube will probably be sometime in the morning. So.
Yeah, it's just a real tough feeling right now. I mean, the only little silver lining is now it does look like this is a team that's playing for a draft pick slot. And I know I'm not saying tanking. That's not what I'm saying. It's just at some point when the season's all over, you're going to have a record. And this team's is going to be pretty low. And now you just lost to another team that's going to have a pretty low record in the Commanders. So I guess you lost or won the tiebreaker now?
Yeah, it's
really rough. So
that's the glasses half
That's
full.
like I said, the very silver lining, but it's looking kind of bleak right now.
I got to admit, so I tweeted out before I even got over here to Justin's house because we did not watch the game together tonight. And I said Justin's going to have to kind of lead the show because I'm at like a loss of words. Like my fire is gone.
Oh, boy.
Because it's just now like hurt.
And
like,
malaise, yeah.
I knew that they weren't going to be good. I prepared myself for that. I even said if they didn't win this game, it didn't matter from a macro level. From a micro level, it clearly did because now they're 2-4. Their season looks very bleak. They have a really tough end of the year schedule with the Bills, the Eagles, and the Vikings, who have a combined win total, or I should say loss total of 2.
Well, I don't know if at that point maybe these teams aren't playing for anything, but that's not where we're looking. So I didn't know I was going to be leading here because I feel very similarly to you.
I'll do my best to keep the fire going. I'm sure at some point I'm going to get angry when you say stuff because that's what seems to be what happens. You'll like throw stuff out and then I'm just like.
Well, I just want to say one thing it might lead us into a more targeted conversation, but I had heard a statistic and I tried to look it up and I don't actually think it's accurate. I think I realized where the mistake was. But the statistic was the Bears had as many explosive plays coming into this game as the Bills.
Yeah, I saw the same statistic.
Well, when I looked into it, it looked like maybe rushing-wise that might be true.
Okay.
But not in the passing game. But what I'm thinking is the Bears actually do have quite a few explosive plays. Yep. But what the heck does it lead to? On Herbert's 64-yard run, I'm sitting here being like, because at the very end, like it was like go for the pylon, but he kind of cut back in and didn't make it. And I said to my son, I'm like, do you think they're going to score? Like I meant a touchdown.
Right.
0 points. Then end of the game, Fields. I mean, you can't ask for more than what he did there. No. He runs at 39 yards, gets it to the 6-yard line.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, Mooney's doing this acrobatic thing at the end. It wasn't even a catch, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which they should have actually called it as a non-catch, because then the Commanders had to, like, sneak out of the end zone. They couldn't take a knee. They would have gotten a safety, which some teams just do. But that's neither here nor there. So these explosive plays, if they don't lead to points, they're useless. And so we say red zone? No. For the Bears, it's the dread zone.
Yeah.
We're better off trying gosh, I got to break that habit. They are better off trying to score from 40 yards out than to get in the red zone. Yeah,
I mean, the Dante Pettis catch, which, by the way, I tweeted this out too. Like, Dante Pettis must have been working with Darnell Mooney's jugs machine because he looked fantastic tonight. Like,
yeah. No. Please don't say fantastic.
Okay. From comparison to himself, he looked fantastic.
He made one good play.
Now, he made a couple catches.
Okay, you're right.
He had 7 targets. He had 4 catches.
Okay. Now, I thought you were going somewhere else with that catch. That was the second time in the game the Bears earned a free play. And you had mentioned a long time ago, this is before the season even started, that Getsy with the Packers And normally they got them by guys jumping.
Right.
This was by hurrying up. The team Commanders had 12 on the field.
Multiple times tonight.
Multiple times. And I'm guessing Fields knew. Like, it wasn't one of those ones where, as a fan watching, it was obvious it was a free play.
Right.
But you take a free play, you chuck the thing down. It wouldn't matter if Pettis dropped it because you would get your yardage on the penalty.
Right.
Now, Fields took a hit on that play.
He took a lot of hits.
He took a lot of hits. And actually that play, and I believe maybe another one almost consecutively, was our boy Braxton Jones just getting completely outplayed. And he's a 5th-round rookie, thrust into starting at left tackle.
Montez Sweat made Braxton Jones sweat.
Yeah.
It was a very rough night for him. And it wasn't like to the point where he was getting like completely burned. It was more along the lines of he just kept getting bull rushed and pushed into Justin Fields. And like, so, I don't know if it's a strength issue.
So here's how I look at it. Because we're gonna break down the game a whole bunch, and then we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna then take a step back and just look at the season. Yeah. It's a third of the way through the season. We want to evaluate things. The way I look at it is Braxton Jones stood out in a horrible way today, but it's the first time this whole season I've felt that way.
Yeah, that's true.
And he has already had to go up against Bosa.
Yeah.
Because Sweat is a very tough person to try to block. So
yes,
let's be real about that. But this is the first time I've seen Braxton Jones just not able to do his job. So I think that's overall a good sign, but it sure wasn't tonight where Fields was getting hit high, hit low.
I'm surprised he's not like on the way to the hospital.
Well, they have a lot of rest because they don't play obviously Sunday.
Yes.
And then they don't play till the following Monday night. So he'll need every minute of that, I think.
This whole team needs to take a step back and just evaluate themselves. I mean, it's, you mentioned 2 times that they were in the red zone, and we're not talking the red zone. Okay. And I know we're calling it the dread zone. They were within the 5-yard line 3 times tonight and came away with 0 points. The interception off of the defensive lineman's helmet, the turnover on downs on 4th down when they're running Khalil Herbert. And okay, I'm out here defending Luke Getsy, saying his play calling was pretty good tonight. I mean, there were some issues that I had with it at times, but you're never going to call a perfect game. No one ever calls a perfect game. In this situation, though, and again, I'm nitpicking this one play, but 4th and goal from the 1, and you have Khalil Herbert in. First of all, that play should be to David Montgomery. He's the better running back between the tackles, and you're running it to the left side, which is their stronger side.
Yes.
So why not run it to the right side? Right? You got Sweat on the left side, and you got Payne on the left side. Like, run it to the right side.
Well, and I also feel the right side of our line is better.
Yeah,
I'm not a Patrick fan, and then he got hurt, and I mean,
Larry Borum isn't that good of a lineman, in my opinion. People still think he is. He's worse than he's worse than Braxton Jones.
Yes.
But from a running game standpoint, he's fine.
Run behind Jenkins when you need 2 inches.
Exactly. Put it behind those 2.
So there are 2 things. That drive, I'm going to use as an example, and I'm going to use another one as an example too, where you almost felt like this was an arrogant offense, as if they had overconfidence when they had no reason to feel that way. Yeah. And here's what I mean by that. We talked about Herbert having that long run and dang it, why couldn't he just go 5 more yards and score? When you have a 64-yard run where it wasn't a straight line run either, he had to break some tackles and then cut back, he probably was winded.
Yeah, we saw Barkley
take
pulled.
him out.
Yes.
But it's almost like this is where the arrogance part, and I'm not saying they really are arrogant, but an arrogant team will be like, well, he deserves that touchdown. Yeah. And we're so good, we're just going to let him get it tired.
Oh, no.
And then the other time they almost looked arrogant was they're down 12-7. Weird score because it was a weird game. And I want to say there was 8 minutes. And they're just taking their time and just going through the little motion. I'm like, no.
Where's the tempo?
Bring the tempo. It's the only time they ever looked good was when they had tempo. And you might need to score twice in that time period to win the game because you're not a touchdown machine, scoring machine. So, what were your thoughts on that?
I tweeted it out, I think, with 5 almost 6 minutes left in the game, and I'm like, let's go, pick up the pace. Like, why are we going? Like, you guys are playing for, like, you're going to score. But in reality, first of all, they didn't even convert then, got the ball back, and were lucky enough that Justin Fields had athleticism to even get them to the point where they had an opportunity to win the game, because the Commanders missed a field goal, by the way.
But they were forced into a long field goal, wind, and all that. I mean, I kind of thought he might miss that.
Yeah, well, he almost missed the short one.
I was thinking they either punt and try to pin,
yeah,
or even go for it. Because if you go for it, the game's over if you convert. Right. And if you don't get it, you give it to them where you did on a missed field goal. Yeah. So that was kind of a coaching issue there, I thought. What was I had a comment on something you just said, though. There's too much, Rob.
Well,
I got it. So you're taking your time almost also as if you think their offense is so good that you don't want to score too early. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Their 3 in the first half was gifted to them by ridiculous pass interference calls.
Yep.
I'm not a complain about the ref all day. Funny story. I actually reffed my son's soccer game today.
Oh, nice.
It was a weird situation. There's no ref, and it's freezing cold. So I'm like, let me go run around and ref.
Guarantee that you did a better job than the last ref that I watched.
Well, I'm a good ref. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a good ref, and that's also why I don't yell at refs. Yeah. And that's why I'm not gonna pick on them too much here, because it's a hard job. But these are pro refs.
Yeah.
This is the big leagues.
They get paid for this.
And it didn't look good. And I felt like the 3 points that that the Commanders had in the first half, that was a gift in some ways.
And so was their touchdown.
Absolutely. So again, you're not going up against a juggernaut here.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't have been this worry that, like, well, we don't want to leave too much time on the clock.
Right.
So I don't know. But going back to something you said, I do think Getsy is calling good games here, or at least today was a good game in terms of how he called it. Execution, though, that's where the Bears are falling up woefully short, and some of that's just a lack of talent.
Some of it's a lack of talent, but the touchdown to Griffin that Justin Fields just completely
you just called it a
missed.
Touchdown.
Because it should have been.
Should have been.
People on Twitter, on social media, saying that Griffin stopped. Griffin didn't stop. Okay, he might have slowed down to look at the ball. But even if he did,
it was a
Justin Fields
throw that he blew.
Effed that up. Yeah. That's Justin Fields. No, I'm sorry. I can sit here and defend Justin Fields as much as anybody else. That was his fault. And I guarantee you, if you ask him, he will tell you the same thing.
I don't like, I'm not big on Amazon, but this game, because it was a Thursday night game, was on Amazon Prime. You didn't have this feature. I have a feature where I can watch the next gen stats version.
I probably have it and just don't realize
you need to do your due diligence and figure out how to use this, because one, they flash a lot of cool stats up throughout the whole game, but you basically are seeing an all 22 the whole time.
Yeah.
And so on the time they got to the dread zone with Khalil Herbert on his long run, and they have 2nd and goal, there is an open receiver off to the flat that Fields just either didn't look at or didn't choose to throw to.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't want to take the easy one and then throws it, goes off a guy's helmet, picked off. But like time and time again, he wasn't taking easy throws. And he can his ceiling, I still think, is quite high. But what I'm worried about is his floor looks pretty low.
Yeah, I'll talk about it more in our second segment.
That's true.
Because
that's true. That's a broad look. Let's go to the just today.
But like, it's very frustrating. I am one of the biggest Justin Fields fans. I think I've said it enough. He was my QB2 coming out of that draft. Like, I was ecstatic when they got him. And I mean, so were you. You told me, like, look, you were having a hard time continuing to watch the Chicago Bears and football in general, and it was that exact moment that kind of pulled you back in. So, I mean, the excitement is there, the ceiling is there, but we also have to remember that he doesn't have a lot of experience in the NFL yet. Like, he's just now getting to the point where he's played enough games for one full season, and that's for 2 different coaching staffs. Like, pushed, like melded together. Like, it's there's room for improvement, obviously.
Absolutely.
This game is not all on Justin Fields. Justin Fields left some on the table, though. He did. This was not... I just did a Justin Fields focused breakdown of his game against the Vikings, where he had his best game of the year, and this wasn't that. I mean, there was a little bit of continuation on it, but there were so many things that he reverted back to. And again, I think that has a lot to do with the offensive line struggling with pass protection tonight.
So you bring up pass protection, and I don't remember the exact situation in the game, but the Bears, on a couple occasions, either had a running back off to his side in shotgun and then put him in motion to empty the backfield, or just came out with an empty backfield. And if you're spread 5 wide, obviously you're throwing or running a draw. In the case of the Bears, it's a very good chance. But you're obviously in a throwing situation. That gives him 5 reads that he has to make, and that minimizes the amount of blockers you can leave in.
Yep.
It's the opposite of max protection. It's minimum protection. And the way the rush was coming in, he's feeling that pressure. He's not able to make those reads, and disaster kept striking. And this was just my observation. But then again, next-gen stats, they're throwing stats up at one point in the game. So Fields finished 14 for 27 for 190 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. So I took a screenshot just to capture this stat. And at this point, he was 11 for 19. So he still went 3 for 8 after this stat. But it broke it down how Fields performed versus man coverage compared to how he did against zone. Against zone, 11 for 14, 164 yards, and a touchdown. Against man, 0 for 5, interception, sacked 2 times. And I don't know how many times he was sacked in zone. It implies 0 there, but I don't think that was true at that point in the game.
And he had 2 sacks in the very first series of the game. And by the way, I did say
those were on him.
Those were on him. Those were definitely on him. And he started the game flat. He did. He started the game uncomfortable again, and
too much yoga.
I don't know if the breathing, he was too calm, and then it was like a wake up moment when guys were flying around in his face.
Not when he was getting his bell rung.
Yeah, but again, that didn't happen until later, and it was just one of those things where he just held onto the ball too long, tried to do too much, moving around the pocket, and it works in his favor more often than it does not. I have to give him credit for that. I mean, look at what happened on the almost 40-yard run just to get them into the red zone.
So I feel like this game, what I noticed about Fields was just more inaccurate throws than I'm used to seeing.
And they're not even
on ones that were open. Yeah. Shorter throws that were open. I tried to kind of go chronologically taking notes here, but one of them I write here. Where'd I have it? Just 2nd and 19, which you don't want to ever be in. Misses Mooney near the first down, but it was just a bad throw.
Yeah.
He had a couple of those, and then you always are going to have your drops.
Right.
Because Pettis dropped another 1 or 2.
Yeah, one.
Amir Smith Marset. Now that one,
it was short of
it was 4th and 19. Yeah. It was short of the marker, but I feel like catching it and gaining 16 yards still would have helped you in the field position battle.
Oh, easily.
That ended up being the field goal drive.
Yeah.
So which maybe they would have had to punt. I don't know. There's all these.
They missed. And...
Yeah, it wasn't the deciding factor, but.
And okay, so you said punt, and we hinted at it earlier, but we have to at least mention in this half of the show.
Oh gosh,
Velus Jones. I like him as an offensive weapon. We saw it today. His snap count went way up. I was calling for that. That was one of the keys that I said had to happen in this game for the Bears to win. And I love him on offense. I like you getting him the ball in his hands. We saw him convert a long 3rd down on just a quick wide receiver screen that it
wasn't executed very well.
No, but his patience, he allowed the blockers to get back, and then he bursted through.
Yes.
And it was fantastic to see, because that's what he brings to the table, is that yards after catch. And what he doesn't bring to the table, and everyone was like, well, at least he'll be a good returner. And he was in college.
Only 1 year, from what I understand.
In his own head right now, and
not knowing when to catch it, obviously not knowing when not to catch it.
Not only should he have just let that go, he was at the 8-9 yard line, would have easily bounced in and been a touchback. But at the same time, like, the way that he went to go catch that ball, like, he just, like, lost it. And it's like, it can't be that bright. I've been to Soldier Field 100 times. Like,
I'm not going to blame brightness, but I wonder if wind, that's the only thing I could wonder.
Maybe.
But still, you know what?
Maybe.
No, none of that.
No one else had
Your
issues.
only job was to catch the ball.
And this is twice.
And it's twice now. So I totally agree with you.
I don't like Tristan Ebner. He doesn't bring anything to the table, but if he can at least just catch the ball and stand there every single time and call fair catch, I'm okay with that.
Funny enough, in preseason, Pettis was the guy they needed to go do that.
Yeah,
now he's just got stone hands. But you're right, though. On the third offensive play of the game for the Bears, Velus Jones was in. He was going in motion, and they ended up just handing it off to Montgomery.
Yeah. And
I turned to my son and go, he's going to get one on a jet sweep, though, too.
Yep.
So you put in a few plays for him, you wide receiver screens, jet sweeps. He actually ran a regular route, too, and caught a ball. I mean, he's a third-round pick that you hope is going to be a contributor. But the Giants game is a little different in the fact that he muffed that punt. They still would have needed to go down and score a drive. And were they down 8 at the time? So they would have also needed a 2-point conversion.
Correct.
But that surely was like the nail in the Bears' coffin for that game. And it kind of felt like that today, too.
It was. And then today, I mean, that was the turning point in the game. I mean, they didn't have to do anything but run the ball 6 yards, 7 yards. I mean, it was nothing.
I was frustrated by the fact that I want to say early in the game, but it may have been mid to late second quarter. Wentz on his follow through gets his hand snapped back kind of.
Yeah.
And he's clearly shaking it. From that point forward, I mean, he still completed some passes. Some were the 2-inch throws.
Yeah.
He was throwing guys short on like little balls to the flat. Yeah. I mean,
you
could barely throw the ball.
You texted me and said, Wentz can't throw.
He can't throw.
Stop the run.
Stop the run. And obviously that drive started at the 6-yard line, so it's going to be very difficult to stop that. But I don't know if Alan Williams called the best game there, but they played well.
The defense played well, and it wasn't just a halftime adjustment situation.
It was not. They played well the whole game.
And Jalen Johnson being back helped, I'm sure.
Looked great.
I was worried about Kyler Gordon getting picked on, and it didn't happen. I mean, Wentz is coming off a 300-yard plus throwing game, and I know a lot of that was in garbage time, but like, I was worried Kyler Gordon was going to be like the focal point again. Just like I thought, I almost said Kendall Fuller. I thought he was going to be the emphasis for the Bears, and they didn't go after him either that much because coming into this game, he's been getting thrashed. So I don't know.
Can I say another frustration? And it's a theme. Yeah. Hey, but guess what? Mustafer made all his snaps.
That was I at some point.
All of them, didn't he?
At some point, I was watching the game and thinking to myself, like, all right, when is the bad snap going to happen?
So, no, it's not that. I interrupted myself there, but Eddie Jackson came up. I want to say it was kind of like a sweep to the right or something. No, you know what? I think it was a completion because I want to say it was McLaurin.
Where he missed the tackle?
No.
Oh, when he hit
jacked him.
Yeah.
I thought the ball came out.
It did.
No, I know. At first I thought it did, and then I'm like, no, it didn't because he's holding it.
Yeah.
It came out violently, bounced off someone else, and came right back in his hand. So I said, this is another – the Bears have to – I imagine they lead the NFL in non-recovered forced fumbles.
It has to be. I mean – but some of these have also just been one of those things where, like, it literally bounces right back to the person. Or,
well, I thought you were going to say some of these are ones they definitely should have recovered. Like that one today wasn't. It was pinballed right back to
correct.
The guy.
It was one of those like unlucky situations, but more often than not. And we were talking about it last time: the city fumble versus the country fumble. I'm not even going to get into the details, but like it was frustrating to see multiple times, and it happened in the last game where it went into the Bears' hands, and he still didn't recover it. Almost like a similar situation. I don't know. They have to. I mean, they are fifth going into this week. They were fifth in takeaways, so I mean, they are doing a lot better than where they were before. But it's not.
Today was 0.
Meaning anything,
right?
No, they were negative because they were.
Oh, you're talking about differential. Or in like plus minus?
Just total, not the differential. Okay. They were fifth. But that was
today
going into
this,
-2. Correct. And going into this week, my guess is they're probably going to drop to like the middle because other teams are going to get their takeaways.
I mean, last week I was saying if the Bears are going to beat the Vikings, they got to be +2 in the turnover. And then today you're playing a team that's not that great. I mean, even the Vegas odds is like +1, -1, +half, -half.
Yeah.
This was a pick'em game. These are both teams that are,
Yeah.
and then you go -2 in the turnover.
So I do a pick 'em every week, and I took the Bears. Obviously, I stuck with my gut, and I told people that are also in it. There's like 50 of us. I told them, I was like, look, and I shouldn't be telling them my secrets, but I said in this game I'm taking the Bears. Everybody knew I was taking the Bears. I wore my sweatshirt to work today. I wore my Chicago Bears shoes to work today. Everyone knew I was taking the Bears. But
what draws were you winning?
I said no. I didn't go that far.
Well, that's why they didn't win, man. Come on, commit, Rob.
But what I did say was the smart person would take Washington and hedge my emotions so that if the Bears did lose, at least I got my first game right for my pick'em. And then if they were to obviously win, well, I got the pick'em wrong. But hey, the Bears won, and that's right. All that matters.
That's true.
I went for the greediness. I went for the double emotional high, and I got my emotional low.
I don't know. This was a tough one, man. Yeah, I think we gotta cut it.
I mean, what else is there to talk about? I think we touched on.
I could try to quickly. I should have looked better here. I mean, just the highs and lows, man. It was tough. Both Jenkins and Patrick spent some time out in this game, injured, but both came back.
So Jenkins is also dealing with a shoulder injury. He's going to be playing through it. There was times where I saw him struggle a little bit more than I have in the past. I don't know if it's because of the shoulder injury. Lucas Patrick sucks. I'm sorry. I'm done with Lucas Patrick. If he can't play center, I want him off this team.
But is he even going to be good at center? I mean, hopefully he'll be able to call.
I mean, you would hope that at least he can do that because, I mean, at least he can do it better than what we've seen from Sam Mustipher. But what I'm frustrated with is Lucas Patrick has just been garbage. I saw Michael Schofield come in. He was only in for a little bit, but, like, he was serviceable too. So, like, again, if Sam Mustipher can't be any better, I don't understand why Lucas Patrick isn't center. What they like in Mustipher makes no sense to me. And I'm not the only one. I mean, everyone is calling for Mustipher's head. Schofield's fine. So put him there, move on. It's frustrating. And I know that this is the first year and I know that Ryan Poles had to strip things down, but he said he was going to build through the trenches. And I get that Braxton Jones is like, at least looking decent, but like you're counting on a 5th round pick and it's not working.
When they said he was going to build through the trenches and then he himself was like an offensive lineman who I believe was undrafted free agent, right?
Yes.
And so it was a lot of the guys they brought in were these late picks or undrafted free agents. And it's like, you're not going to catch lightning in a bottle with all of them.
No.
But, we did talk about Braxton Jones as a 5th rounder. Does seem to be standing his own. Not so much today. I have one Mustipher play I have to talk about. Since we didn't get to talk about any missed snaps.
Is it the one I said needs to become a meme?
Maybe. It has to be. It has to be. So he shoves a guy in the back, and no one, I guess, saw or cared. But that guy turns around and pushes him, and then he does like this weird like dive. It reminded me of like there was a fake punt years ago, some really sad team that's barely D1 was playing against like Miami Hurricanes or something, and the team that was like 60-point underdogs was going to do a fake punt or something, and this guy just pretended like he died, like he just collapses. You have to check it out. I'll show it to you later. But that's what it reminded me of with Mustipher. He just like just collapses.
It was like his whole body just became stiff as a board, and he just like falls down. Like he does throw his hand up to try to give like the acting flop. Like I mean, it was like LeBron James on the basketball court, but it was
LeBron impression.
It was good. We can give him an Academy or a Tony Award.
There you go.
Like, whatever.
So hey, if he can play a clean game where he doesn't get any missed snaps, then we get to talk about things like that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know how many of those there'll be.
I don't know either. I do have to remember, though, this is something that I forgot. We're going to go to our ad break, but I have to warn you because as I was listening to one of the ads in our prior podcast, it was a Green Bay Packers ad. So I have to warn everyone, I apologize for any Green Bay Packer ads that come across here. Whatever is being done, and I hope these advertisers aren't actually listening to these podcasts, don't buy or fall for any of that stuff, all right? Ignore the Packers ones. Just hit that fast forward button.
Yeah, we are not held accountable for what ads you may hear.
That's
but please enjoy. We'll be back in a little bit. All right, Hallis Huddle fans, we are back. We hope or don't really care if you enjoyed your ads.
Yeah. By the way, this is episode 17, so shout out to my boy, Amir Smith Marset.
Oh, he's your boy now. Okay. Wow. A lot can change in 4 days.
That's sarcasm.
Well, I didn't pick up on it. So.
Okay.
No, I slightly did. All right. So we're going to basically now shift from talking about the game, although right when we went to the break, we were still getting into certain details of the game. I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. This one's going to stick with us for a while, which might be a good plug for your shorts because now you have extra time.
Yes.
You were short a short this week. Maybe you can add an extra one. I don't know.
We'll see how my week goes.
No, but I'm saying you got even a little more time.
I know.
Okay.
We'll
Either
see.
way, I got you.
I gotta get some articles out on Bear Goggles on. I've been kind of slacking.
There you go. Okay, that's your part-time job. This is just a hobby.
Yeah, definitely make sure if you're listening to go check out the website. There's daily content every day because it's daily content.
And great words.
Great
in
words.
all of these articles.
Sports ball.
So instead of talking just about tonight's game, we're going to shift. Bears are 2-4, 6 games into a 17-game schedule. So that's about a third of the way through the season. It's exactly a third if they get a playoff game.
All right. That's going to happen.
So just under a third of the way. Just over, I'm sorry, a third of the way through.
I do have a way that maybe it happens.
What's that?
Maybe this Daniel Snyder stuff comes out. And apparently he's got like dirt on other owners, and maybe those owners, like everyone gets suspended, like they can't continue into the playoffs.
But you think the McCaskies are clean?
I think the McCaskies are clean. They're too vanilla, right? Like they're not.
Those sometimes
they're not a
you
Jerry
really
Jones.
gotta wonder about.
They're not a Jerry Jones type. I mean,
yeah, or what's Kraft?
Yeah, Kraft. I mean, Virginia McCaskey won't even let the Bears have cheerleaders. Like
but yet you think that Mustafa has pictures of her.
Well, I mean, they're out there somewhere.
They're like really old photos.
Very old photos. And
paintings.
And voyeuristic.
Yeah. Well,
she didn't know they were being
We were going off. This was not in the script.
Explicit content.
So we said, Justin, you're going to open, toss it over to Rob after you introduce the segment. That's not how this went.
I may have had a shot in between. I didn't. But I should have.
So we're going to shift from the game focus to our 1/3 of the way through the season evaluation by different position groups, where people are at. Kind of like, is the arrow pointing up? Is the arrow pointing down? Or is it just kind of going to the side? So why don't we start with the very most important position, quarterback?
Yeah, so Trevor Siemian is going to be your... No, I'm just joking. I don't care about anybody else but Justin Fields.
Same.
And I currently have him with his arrow going sideways. And I know that's very harsh. And I do think that it's like trying to go up. It's trying to go up. And we still keep seeing all these things. I get frustrated because I see him miss things like that easy touchdown lob, right? And then he comes back and throws an amazing pass to Dante Pettis. And then you see him throw an amazing 20-yard pass on a crossing route. And, you know, last week it was a post that was like a quick out route. And boom, hits Equinemius St. Brown on for another 20 yards. In fact, Justin Fields, and I know everyone, I tweeted that, everyone's like, he's only got 3 completions. No. Okay, I know he doesn't have a lot of completions compared to other quarterbacks in the league, but he leads the league in pass completions or yards per pass completion. So like he's throwing 13.9 yards before this game where his average for a completion. it's not like that really is going to change much tonight. I mean, most of his passes were far passes, 15, 20-yard passes, right? I mean, he has the tools. His ceiling is way, way, way up here, but I'm starting to fear that his floor isn't as high as I thought it was going to be. And that's where I'm getting frustrated. He's missing some of these easy things. We saw it with Darnell Mooney. He went on a 3rd and 3, went for the home run ball. It wasn't a bad thrown ball. It was just really good coverage.
He had, don't know which receiver it was, Pettis, I think. Coming across.
Yeah, I think it was Pettis.
I want to say easy completion, but I didn't know if in his own mind, he's like, that guy's going to drop it.
Yeah. Maybe that is what the holdup was.
You got to make that throw. And Komet had done a stop route, and I felt was open. Live, I thought, hey, get it to Komet. And then they threw deep. And then on the replay, it was like, no, hit that crossing route.
Yeah.
So you said coming into this was 13.9 yards per completion. Today was 13.6. So he's not going to come too far down.
He'll be leading, I guarantee it.
So you said you have the arrow sideways for Fields. And when I did this, I said I have it up, but not confidently. So I guess that's similar to what you're saying. We did kind of a 2 truths and a lie a couple weeks ago, and we said we were going to revisit that at the halfway point of the season. So one thing you're going to get in this podcast is really good analysis of Bears football, and the other thing is fractions.
Yeah.
So, but at the third point we're doing this, and at the halfway point we'll revisit. But I said that the game will slow down for Fields. Now, it doesn't slow down when he's running for his life with all the pressure he's taking, and so it's hard to just simply evaluate his arrow when you're really evaluating how he's fitting amongst a team that has a lot of growing to do.
Yeah.
So I have the arrow up because I do think he's seeing the field better.
He is.
Understanding what he's supposed to be doing better. But I worry, and my famous example is Derek Carr, of a young quarterback that just takes so many hits that he loses confidence or starts seeing ghosts, that kind of thing. And that's why it's not a confident up arrow. It's more of a...
I don't want to throw it under the table, but you mean David Carr.
I said, what'd I say?
Derek Carr.
David Carr, my bad. Thank you. It's
same
late.
Family,
it's Thursday.
right?
Yeah, Carr. I had that part right. So we're kind of the same, I think.
We are, but I do have to. Okay, so it pisses me off. I was listening to the post game show a little bit before I drove over here, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is talking about how Justin Fields needs to start hitting his second and third reads, and I'm like, you're a national guy who doesn't do his homework, because I've been watching his all 22 tape now for the last couple of weeks, and he's making there's a couple times where he goes through his whole progression, and that's 4 to 5 reads before he takes off running, and that doesn't get to happen very often because of the way that the offensive line is playing most of the time, and because of his impatience at times. But he's doing that. And we're seeing that as he continues to go. He's going to his second and third reads most of the time. He is staying in the pocket better than he was in the beginning of the year. He doesn't look as uncomfortable as he did. It's just the easy ones that I'm missing.
Well,
he needs to get better at
so
those.
Now it's weird because I was slightly above you, but I'm going to actually counter what you just said. I wrote down a specific play from today's game that I think shows what I'm talking about, and maybe it's what Fitzpatrick was talking about. You're saying he's going through these progressions. And it was actually back to when we were doing the show with Jeremy. It was still preseason. We were saying, is he leaving the progressions too fast?
That is true.
So there was a 1st and 10 on the very first drive today. And he ended up taking a sack. And before we said the sacks were on him.
Yep.
I had here that he missed Mooney and missed Komet. Like there was a situation, or no, I'm sorry. Komet was going over to the left. The guy was behind him. Like you have to lead him. You have to trust that he's open.
Yeah.
Make that throw.
Even
so then there was a receiver, same side on the right side. He's open. These are guys who are NFL open.
Yes.
And he's not trusting always those types of throws.
And those things even showed up in the Minnesota game. He left a touchdown on the table because he didn't throw it to Equinemius St. Brown, who had the opening. And it happened again today. I mean, when they're coming across, and And there might be a guy trailing him, but if there's no one there and you can see there's no linebacker, there's no safety that can jump the route, and he's got the arm that he can gun it in there, you got to throw it.
Now I'm having flashes of that Houston game where he didn't see the safety who was clearly in the passing lane, and he threw a horrible pick.
And that does happen.
It happens, but there were times he missed throws today. So I have a reluctant up arrow.
But
I'm a big Justin Fields fan.
So that's not what Fitzpatrick was meaning, though, because he literally didn't. I misquoted him. He literally said he needs to stop throwing to his first read.
Okay.
So in that sense, he's
accurate.
not changing. He's not coming off his first read, right? Wherein what you're saying is he might be coming off his first read, but maybe he's doing it too soon.
Right. And then same thing with his second. Like
right.
Today, I don't know what his first read was, but definitely Kmet looked like he was like adjusting to see Kmet coming across. He's open. Throw it to him.
Yeah.
Or now you've looked here. He's open. Throw it to him.
Yeah.
No, he just took a sack.
Yeah.
And he's had many of those situations where he doesn't take a sack. He scrambles away and makes a beautiful play. So,
but again,
there's that too. But
he's at that 17 game mark, right? And I want to say it's only 16 games that he started because I think they were counting him coming in when Andy Dalton got hurt. But 17 games, he's 23 years old, like you said when we were, in between segments, and the arrow, it can't be pointing down. Anyone who says that it's pointing down right now can just, I don't know.
Okay.
Go be a Packers fan.
Let's do another group. This one will be quick, I think.
Yeah.
The running back group.
All right, running backs. David Montgomery, arrow pointing up as a player. Arrow pointing down as a Chicago Bear. The only reason I say that is because, again, I don't see them spending the money. Although he did prove that he adds value, and you're the one that mentioned it, especially in the pass blocking game compared to Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert, arrow pointing up. Both of them had kind of a rough game running against the Vikings, but bounced back again today. And I don't really care about Justin Ebner at this point. So
I don't know if Herbert even got too many carries in the Minnesota game.
I think he had 11.
Did he?
Or no, I take that back. He had 4. I think he had 11 plays.
Yeah, I didn't think he got much time, which was odd because Montgomery was coming off an injury. But it's funny. We did these separate of one another. We did not talk about this, and I have the same exact thing where within the framework of what's happening now, Montgomery to me is still up. I mean, the injury was scary. You never like to hear of injuries, and here he is now 2 games back from injury and looking okay. I mean, today wasn't his finest game, I wouldn't say, but then there were certain plays where it was like, that's what you need. And some of those were in the late drive at the end of the game, pushing really hard for first downs and things like that, and grading pass protection. Herbert, big time up arrow. Just going to love to see what this guy can develop into.
Yeah.
So same exact thing as you for running backs.
I'm afraid of this next one. Where are you going?
I mean, it doesn't matter. If we could go 2 ways. We could go O-line, I was going to go receiver, which is scary, or we could go O-line. Scary. What do you want to do?
As long as we're not going tight end next. Let's get one of the scary ones out.
Let's go receiver.
Okay.
How about for this, we alternate guys?
All right. Well, we'll start with the easy one, Darnell Mooney.
Is it easy?
It is for me. I think so. His arrow's pointing up for me.
Oh, wow.
He has gone from struggling in the first few weeks to really emphasizing on getting out there. He was catching balls off the jugs machine there after the game.
Was any of our commercials for jugs? I mean, it sounds like you're like trying to promote them, get them as a partner for the show.
But again, I mean, that's the work ethic that you see him put in, and you see it with Fields too. And he stays after the game, and he's out there just catching balls. And now, I mean, he hasn't had drops. Like, we're seeing some great routes run from him.
Interesting.
I definitely think the arrow is still pointing up. I don't think he's a wide receiver 1. I don't think he ever should be.
So you just said for Montgomery, arrow up for the season, but down as how the future looks.
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of how I was assessing Mooney, because I put him as a side, not up or down.
Okay.
And I feel like it's this idea that as a 1, and I don't want to just flat out say in 6 games that it's he can't handle being a 1. I don't think it's that. I think the fall off from where he is at 1 to where I don't even know who you would call the 2, to be honest. I mean, I guess it's St. Brown.
Yeah.
But is it?
I mean, it is, but
And it can't be Pettis. We've talked so much about his flaws.
yeah.
So I feel like he's side right now. They have to bring in. And I'd love to see what N'Keal Harry adds to the offense.
Yeah, I see where you're going with
But,
that.
like, I could definitely see his arrow going way up if you get another guy in here. Let's have a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
You don't have to declare, oh, this is our one receiver, this is our number 2. But you are convincing me that maybe I should raise my grade a little bit on him.
I think part of it is I didn't approach it the same way as I did Montgomery, and I was just looking at the season where he started out slow and then it went back up. So from
season, it's going up.
From a macro level,
can't argue with that.
You can't see him getting any higher. Like, they need to focus on receiver in this draft, and I'm going to be. People were. I was mad when they went and got 2 defensive backs in the second round. If they don't get a receiver or a top lineman in the first round, if they take a 3 technique at pick 7,
you're getting way ahead of us, man.
I'm just saying, if that's what happens, like, I'm gonna flip tables.
They will take one, but they'll also have another first round pick.
Okay,
because they'll be dealing Roquan.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
He's not gonna get you a 1.
No, he's not.
I'm just messing with you, but we are getting ahead of ourselves there. But at some point in this game, I did think of you, Rob, and I was like, yeah, I can start to come around to see that, like, maybe they could have or should have done more to support Fields, but it's more that I think they should have. I don't know that they could have.
Sure.
Because, yes, they could have taken Pickens instead of Gordon, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the only difference, then you assume they still take Brisker. And then I'm sure there was where they took Velus. I don't know which corners were available. I'm not going to go back and look.
Yeah.
But you probably could have gotten a serviceable guy.
Sure.
But I don't think this team looks that different if you just add George Pickens and take away Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, no, honestly, I would have much rather seen them get Juju Smith-Schuster.
There you go.
Or even had been the Browns and traded for Amari Cooper. They traded away a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, that's not much. But the Bears didn't have a lot of draft capital.
No, and everyone's like, well, that's Dominique Robinson's, that's Braxton Jones. Well, first of all,
they had to acquire those picks.
Right. Like, I don't know.
Well, the point is they definitely need to add to that wide receiver room because we don't even want to grade the rest of these guys. I don't.
No,
that's why I took the one I could actually grade.
Every single one of the rest. I'll say that Equinemius St. Brown, I think his arrow is actually pointing up.
He's proven
because he went from a nothing receiver in Green Bay, and he's proven at least serviceable. He could be your wide receiver 3-4.
I'm fine with that
going forward.
Does he field punts?
I mean,
well,
can't be any worse.
So let's just say this then. Velus right now looking like a down because of how he's performed on special teams, but we talked about how we like.
Yeah, no, he's
the trend. He's trending in the right way, I would say, for
at least
offensively.
Dante Pettis, I mean, he's sideways because he's not even going to be on the team next year.
Yeah. So the grades there, I know we didn't really go through each player, but that's more because of the way it's been.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
We're going to have to go through O-line kind of quick here.
Sure. I'll just go from left to right and tell you where I think they are. Braxton Jones' arrow is pointing up. I know we were on him today. He had a rough game, but what we're seeing from him and what we're expecting from him from where he was drafted,
he's doing great.
He's been fantastic. I already said Lucas Patrick sucks. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the Green Bay scheme versus, Aaron Rodgers getting the ball out so much faster.
Which he does.
For sure. He's one of the fastest in the league.
That's going to make every lineman look better.
For sure. I just think he sucks. I hope
he's better. Down?
Hope he's better. Yeah.
Or is this now up arrow, down arrow, side arrow, and sucks?
Well, I mean, Sam Mustipher's trash. So that's even worse. Let's get him out of here. And I would venture to at least say that Lucas Patrick would be better than him. So that's fine at center. I love Tevin Jenkins. I'm going to keep loving Tevin Jenkins. My eye test today said that he struggled more today than he has in the past.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what I see when I look at the tape.
Did he come in with an injury?
Yes, he came in with an injury. He's playing through a shoulder injury, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there.
Okay.
And Larry Borum is just sideways for me. I don't think he's going to ever amount to being anything but a serviceable right tackle, hopefully eventually a backup.
So my grades would be identical. But I will say, this was a tough loss to take. I mean, 3-3 just seems to me so much better than 2-4.
Yeah.
And when they're 2-4, and you hear the news that like Leatherwood is coming off of the reserve list,
illness list.
That's a guy. I mean, I can't help but want his arrow to be up.
Yep.
I mean, he was a first-round pick just last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, now that you're 2-4, maybe do you give other guys like him a chance?
I'm hoping.
So we'll see. There's certainly a lot of guys you can replace.
Yeah.
All right. We're going. I almost went to the defensive side of the ball without even bringing up tight ends.
Got to go tight end. I got to talk about my boy Cole Kmet.
Should I go first on this one?
Like, he's legit, my boy. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Does that mean you're not going to grade him tough?
It means I think people are way too hard on him.
Oh, well then add me to that group.
Okay.
I have a down arrow for him.
No.
And it's not, no, but listen. It's not his ability.
Okay.
It's his production.
Sure.
And that's not on him. No, I get it. Yeah. But like, Justin Fields was 17 for, what was it? 17 for
22, you said? 21?
24, I think.
Oh, yeah, 24.
No, I'm sorry. I made it sound much better. 14 for 27. I switched the 7 and the 4 and made his stats sound so much better.
Yeah, that's
17 for 24 is like, okay. 14 for 27, barely 50%.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kmet, 2 catches?
Well, one was called back.
1 catch?
1 catch. One was called back.
So to me, it's production. It's not ability. I see what he can do. When he catches the ball, he's a hard runner, hard guy to bring down. He'll fight for those extra yards. Yeah. He used to fumble when he did that.
Yes.
I haven't seen that this year, although is that because he barely has had the ball? I don't know.
I mean, every time he gets it, though, I feel like he's gaining at least 2 to 5 yards.
Now, you're an all-22 guy, so maybe you could answer this for me. I mean, when he stays in and blocks, is he a plus as a blocker?
His blocking is actually down for me this year.
Okay.
More
the reason why I would put his arrow down then, because if you're not catching the ball and you're not a proficient blocker, this is year 3 for him.
Yep.
He should be making strides. And again, this isn't a dysfunctional offense. I get that. But of all the people in that offense who you would expect to be looking good, he'd be one of them, and he's not. So that's why I put down arrow.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm not going to
defend him.
I'm not going to give him an up arrow.
Okay,
he's sideways for me because we're not seeing enough. But I do see what he brings to the table as a receiver when he's given the ball. If he was in a more proficient and efficient offense, I think he would be, one of the better tight ends in the league. I'm not saying he's a Travis Kelce. I'm not saying he's, a Waller or a Goddard, but like, he's going to be somebody who is, constantly getting you, I'm going to throw it to fantasy, constantly getting you 7 to 10 points per week for your fantasy team. Like, he's going to be the guy that gets you
without scoring a single touchdown. 3
catches for 45 yards. I think he would get touchdowns, though. I mean, he doesn't even get red zone. He got his red zone target
the helmet hit.
The helmet hit, and he was open.
Which also makes me wonder, should that throw have been delivered higher?
Oh, well,
you know what I mean?
Of course it should have been.
Because he hit a guy in the head.
I mean,
yes, it should have been higher because it hit someone in the head who wasn't even jumping. But my point is, that's his advantage. Yeah. And
I'm biased.
He's not taking advantage of it. I mean, the Bears are not taking advantage of it, however you want to look at it. But
and I will admit that I am biased because I also like Notre Dame. So, but and then the rest of the tight ends are just they're nothing because I don't imagine that they're even going to be here next year.
So we're going to have to go through the defense a bit quicker because I think we also want to maybe do this for the coaching staff. Maybe we do this for Ryan Poles. Although
we'll hit these real fast.
Okay. So defense, let's go by groups. Let's start in the trenches. D-line.
Okay. Defensive line, the only guys that I have with up arrows are Travis Gibson and
Dominique Robinson. Although he had 2 bad plays today that I noticed. One was early in the game. It might have been their first play. I'm not sure. But they ran the ball. No, it was later in the game. He just bit way too hard on a fake to the right, and he should have been the contain.
Sure.
And, we haven't been seeing that. Well, we've been seeing a lot of that from the Bears overall, but I feel like he's gotten caught a couple times.
Yeah.
But he's young, another 5th round pick.
Very raw.
Oh, this was another stat, just to speak on. We want to give these Bears rookies the benefit of the doubt, I want to say, because they've played more snaps
Oh, I saw that.
than any other team in the NFL.
Rookies they've played.
14 rookies have played. I wrote it down. You're going to have to come back to me on that one. But it was an insane amount of plays because Brisker hasn't missed a snap on defense. Gordon missed one.
Right.
And then Dominique Robinson has played a heck of a lot.
100 plus
and Braxton Jones.
100%.
Right. So if you're 2-4, but you got four or five guys.
Guys like Jalen Jones when Jalen Johnson was out. He's a rookie.
Bayless.
Yeah, Bayless. So they're definitely playing.
They're one of the youngest teams in the league, and it's showing. But
it is.
I would agree with Gibson as well. And Robert Quinn, last year set the sack record, and people talked about how throughout his career he'd have a great year followed by a bad year. Great year, bad year. It's looking like a bad year, isn't it?
It's looking like an awful year. He looks.
Can you trade him?
Whoa, no. You can. What are you going to get for him? A 5th round pick?
That's where most of their starters are coming from.
I know, but his value was so much higher coming off the 18.5 sack season.
What's the other alternative? You get nothing for him?
You
play out the stretch.
He's got another 2 years.
Is he sideways or down?
He's down.
Okay, he's down.
He just looks bad.
Yeah. Justin Jones, I'd give a slight up to.
To me, he's sideways. I need to see more from that 3 tech.
Made a sack last week, was the only sack the Bears had. Today had a really nice batted ball down.
Yeah.
I feel he's done okay against the run, but in one of the worst rush defenses in the league. Yeah. So it's hard to say he's looked okay when.
Right. And it's a 1-year contract, so I don't know if he's even going to be here next year either.
I'll give him a slight up because he's popping up on some plays.
I'm fine with that. No one else really stands out to me. Maybe Armand Watts a little bit at times, but Angelo Blackson. These guys are just guys that you could easily probably substitute anyone.
We'll stick to mostly like starters.
Yeah. All right, linebacker. Let's go there next. Roquan Smith, I have him sideways. I need to see more from him. I know he's learning a new position. He's had one hell of a game against Houston, and he's been
Today's was a pretty good game.
It was much better. But if you look at his season,
the Bears actually blitzed. Yes. Why didn't we talk about that?
Not a lot more than what they had.
And it worked. So,
but yeah, he's the only one. And Morrow's been fine, but sideways. And I need to see some more Jack Sanborn.
Yeah, they might as well play him. He got in there. Well, I only saw him on special teams. I only saw him on special teams. I don't even honestly have anything to add there. I almost want to go back to the D-line position real quick and just say Mohammed.
Oh, yeah, I even forgot about him.
That's been bad, right? Yeah. That's been bad, right?
That's how bad it is. I forgot about him.
Yeah, that's one of your big signings. He comes from Indy with Eberflus, knows that no.
Yeah.
No.
Week 1, he was okay.
So rather than talk about any linebackers, I had to go back just to bash one more
glad that you did.
D-lineman.
Glad that you did. We
got the secondary, though, since I won't talk about linebackers, it's because I want to talk about the secondary.
All right, let's go. I'll let you go first.
I will pretty much give every single starter in the secondary an up. And when I say that, because we know they play 5, you basically are in the nickel more than you're in anything else. Brisker made some rookie mistakes, but has made some plays as well. And he's been in on every snap. He's dependable.
Jaquan Brisker has elite advanced stats right now.
So definite plus for him. Gordon, almost like the trajectory of Mooney, but Mooney's a veteran. This is a rookie. So had a rough start.
Yeah.
Last few games has really shown better.
Yes.
And so I got an up arrow for him. Vildor had to step up a little bit with Jalen Johnson out. I'm just going to give Jalen Johnson an up. When he played prior to the injury, 0 targets. And then today, broke up a pass in the end zone with a beautiful play. There was another play where he just stayed in between his guy and the ball, just got in the way without drawing a pass interference, did it beautifully, and then had a pass interference that was, I thought, kind of
very
bogus.
similar, but kind of bumped him.
So whatever. But, and then Eddie Jackson seems to be having kind of like a bounce back year. I know you'll say he never left.
That's right.
But the resurgence, just the energy is there. So across the board, I'm giving positives, up arrows. And the Vildor up arrow kind of surprised me, to be honest.
Yeah, got his first career interception last week. I saw a great play from him where he actually gave way too much cushion. I believe it was a he was either second and long or third and long, but he sprinted back and closed
and knocked batted the ball down, timed it perfectly.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was a second down. Forcing a third.
Oh no, I'm not even talking about that one. That was great too.
Different one.
To come up and make the tackle to stop them from getting past the first down marker. It was. I think it was a third down because I think it forced a punt.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely, I've always liked Vildor, but not as much as some people did. I think he has some potential. I don't know if I would ever want him to be like the starting outside corner, but like,
yeah,
if he's your guy you bring in when you're in nickel and you move Gordon to the slot, like
it's funny because you said this team is supposed to be built from the trenches, and when you have a team that has like that dominant line, it makes the secondary better.
Yeah,
because they don't have to cover as long.
And we're not.
This is the opposite.
Yes.
Like I feel very good about what they have in the secondary, not just now, but like as you look to the future.
They have had coverage sacks,
right?
Where
yes,
the linemen finally get there. Because...
exactly. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
Why don't we just quickly go to the coaching staff?
All right. I wanted to make sure that I brought this up, and this was a little bit earlier into the game. But okay, so the Bears
special teams.
Oh God.
Let's skip it.
Gil and Cairo Santos, their arrows are up.
And touchbacks.
Yeah.
Anytime the Bears take a touchback, gets an up arrow from me.
That's right. So the Bears have had 11 drives with first downs past their opponent's 30. Okay, and this was Adam Chernoff who tweeted this out. Over the last 3 weeks, they've only scored 32 points. Okay, they had field goal, and this doesn't include
doesn't sound
the rest
that horrible though. Because let's say all those drives ended in a field goal, that would be 33 points. Oh no, 11 first downs, so you could get multiple of those on the same drive.
Sure. Yeah. It was
like you could get a first down to the 29, you could get another first down to the 19, and technically another one to the 9. So you could get 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see where you're going with it, but that's not where they were going with it. It's more just they're within the 30, okay, with a first down. It wasn't like
clean, fresh set of downs. Okay.
Clean, fresh set of downs inside the 30 and could only put up 32 points. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of those were field goals. 1 fumble, an interception, and a turnover on downs.
Coming into today's game?
Coming in. This was including 2 of the possessions from today's game.
Okay. The interception.
And the turnover on downs. But then they had another one where it was a turnover on downs.
True. At the end of the game.
Yep. And I want to say there was another drive that they were still within the 30. Maybe. And I want to say they got within the 30. And I think that's when Justin Fields had his horrible sack.
Well, I remember there was a drive where they got to the 50.
Okay, maybe
and maybe ended up punting from the 30. Like they lost 20 yards.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. But still, okay.
So where's that? What does that have to do with the coaching staff?
The coaching staff needs to find a way to help this team score touchdowns. And I know it's not just play calling.
Because they can't catch that ball in the end zone.
No,
that should have been thrown better and caught better.
Correct.
Well, not thrown better.
But there are things that they could have done. The quarterback draw play that was a touchdown that didn't become a touchdown, like
because it just didn't deserve to be,
right? Like that should have. Which, by the way, I don't know if that was included because that was a turnover on downs, wasn't
it? Had to be.
Yeah, they didn't kick a field goal.
Yeah, that was fourth
down 1. Yeah, so there's another one that's not even included.
How do you know that wasn't included though?
Because there was only 1 turnover on downs,
and it was today's.
Yeah. Unless he didn't fumble it. No. Maybe he did fumble it. It's been too long.
No.
I didn't think so. I was on vacation, so...
blame the vacation.
But anyway, so the point being, like, there's been some mishaps when it comes to play calling down there that I don't like.
Well, and, like, even this final drive where Mooney didn't catch it, but whatever. That was on 4th and goal from the 5 or so, maybe?
4 or 5, yeah.
You had 1st and goal from the 6.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, it was... There's 3 plays in there. You know what I mean? Like,
and I know they didn't have
plays
timeouts,
earlier, right?
But
yeah, that's true.
They had 45 seconds.
I feel like it's not always the last play that I'm as angry about as some of the ones that you missed in between.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like I grow less and less confident as the Bears get closer and closer to the end zone.
Yes, that's why it's now the dread zone.
The dread zone.
But I do have to say that Luke Getsy's play calling has definitely gotten better. At one point, they had ran 20 plays in the red zone, and 19 of them were runs.
Well, and let's also credit the coaching staff. We've pretty much said it week to week, but this is our 1/3 of the season evaluation. They consistently have done a good job of adjusting at the half.
Yes.
The Bears defense, until last week, hadn't given up any second half touchdowns. Yes. They did last week. They did this week on a drive that started at the 6 from a muffed punt.
Yes.
So overall, and just Eberflus, just in terms of where he has the team.
We've talked about
there haven't been
a lack
too many
of pre-snap penalties.
Yeah, there haven't been too many boneheaded, we nailed him for a minute left in the half, all 3 timeouts, and you don't even try.
He's a rookie too.
Yeah, I guess. Well, but he didn't have confidence in this offense.
Right.
And then you see, should you?
Right.
So there's been a couple. But overall, I'd give him the up arrow, the benefit of the doubt. This is a young team that's got to learn how to win.
And they got to get talent.
But even where they're at, and that's credit to the coaching staff. They're deficient in talent, and it's a 2-4 team that could be 3-3, could be 4-2.
Yeah.
But everybody could be, right?
I mean, outside of the Packers game, they've been in every single game.
Yeah. So.
And had they converted field goals into touchdowns, they would have beat the Giants.
Oh, they've left so many plays on the field in each game.
Had they converted field goals into touchdowns, well, not even field goals, turnovers on downs and interceptions into touchdowns today, they would have beat Washington. So
yeah. So if you count turnovers on downs as actual turnovers, then they had 4 turnovers today?
I mean, those aren't counted.
I know they don't, but
yes.
In essence they do, because 2 of those turnovers on downs. These are not turnovers downs at midfield.
Correct.
These were in the dread zone.
Correct.
At the 1 damn yard line.
Correct. 3 of them.
So those should have been at least 3 points.
Yes.
So if you just take 3 on the 4 turnovers, that's 12 points. I mean, the Velas turnover, you don't take points, but you gave them 7.
Correct.
So if you look at the net,
the swing.
Now we're getting all. Well, we went way over with the frustration, and it wasn't easy to evaluate these guys because there's just a lot of ups, a lot of downs, which creates a lot of sideways. So.
Yeah, I'm still I'm very frustrated. I'm at a loss of words for a lot of how I feel, and there's an inner rage in me that wants to come out, but I'm not going to bring
I cooled you down too much from last week?
The fire.
The fire and the ice?
The fire. I think it's also because it's like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's getting late. Oh, no, it's almost midnight. So we're going to wrap this up. We're not going to have another show to break down for quite some time because the Bears obviously don't play this Sunday, and then they don't play the following Sunday because they have a Monday night primetime game at New England. Not going to go into it right now. Maybe I will try very, very hard to get a short out.
Okay.
Sometime in that span. Maybe it'll be me trying to talk about the game, preview that game.
Okay. And I'll have at least 2, one on Fields and one on another player of your guys' choosing. So.
All right. Thank you for listening.
As always, everybody bear down.